Hi guys, today I'll be taking a look at a Cherry MX Blue clone, the Kailh Blue. Let's get started. Now, these switches come in two different variants, a D13 and a D91 variant. I talk more about this in my Kailh Red video, which you can go and check out if you want to learn more about this. However, to save you some time, the biggest difference is one variant has an opaque top housing and the other one has a transparent one. Moving on, unlike the Kailh Red I reviewed, these blue switches say Long Wa on the top housing instead of Kailh. This is because Kaiwa Electronics used to be known as Long Wa Electronics, which is why you still see the Long Wa logo in some of their products. In terms of pricing, these are just under £5 per 10 switches on AliExpress, so this easily puts it in the budget end of the market, joining the likes of Gatron, Altamu and Greetech. And this is what they look like disassembled. Feel free to pause the video. Now, let's move on to the switch categories. On-center key presses are smooth for the most part. No issues here really. However, off-center key presses are quite scratchy. In fact, there are also some inconsistencies with my batch. Some switches suffer more scratchiness than others, and given my experience with Kailh switches, this is probably the case for most of them, and let me tell you, it's not great. 5 out of 10. The weighting is light with an actuation force of 49 grams at 2.1mm and a bottom out force of 61 grams at 3.8mm of total travel. The tactile event occurs between 1 and 2mm and peaks at around 56 grams, closely resembling the Gatron Blue, one of its main competitors. Overall, I find it a bit too light for my fingers, although it's not bad, especially if you're used to typing on Cherry MX Blues or something. For me, it misses the mark. 5 out of 10. Sound is really annoying. It's extremely rattly and high-pitched, just like every other click jacket switch in existence. This is no exception. Personally, I really don't like these. They don't sound as bad when lubed, but as stock switches, they aren't any good. 4 out of 10. Now for the typing demo. Enjoy. Typing on these isn't too shabby actually. It's fairly smooth, the weighting isn't all over the place, and the tactile event is somewhat noticeable. However, the biggest downside is the racket of sound it makes whenever you press a key, and that's what really brings this down. Again, this may not even be an issue for some of you, as you're either used to it by now or you simply don't mind it. For me, it's a 6 out of 10. Now, just like typing, gaming on this isn't too bad either. However, I need to stress how much of an annoyance this becomes when you're in the zone, because I find clicky switches, especially these ones, to be quite uncomfortable to game on because of their high-pitched nature. It's very distracting for me, especially when playing stealth games. 5 out of 10. In conclusion, it's not a bad switch, just kind of you know? It's a generic MX Blue clone, there's not much else to it, but it can act as a replacement or an alternative to a real MX Blue switch, as these are a much cheaper and much more widespread option, especially in budget mechanical keyboards. The final score for this switch is 24 out of 50 or 48%, right alongside its rivals. Anyway, next time I'll be reviewing the Cherry MX Red because I haven't covered that yet for some reason. Until then, take care and goodbye.